Rockstar Games blessed us all with something to soy face over in the biggest way possible.
What is arguably going to be the biggest game of the generation.
The pressure must be tremendous at Rockstar. Has any piece of media been as hyped as GTA 6?
Grand Theft Auto 6 will change gaming forever, and you know it. Let's get something straight right away, because people keep talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 like it's just another big release, like it's just the next game we're supposed to be excited for about a few weeks and then move on. But that's not what this is. Grand Theft Auto 6 isn't just a sequel, it isn't just a Rockstar game. It's one of those rare releases that doesn't just sell well, it changes expectations, and every time that happens, the entire industry feels it. You can already see the fear, studios are quietly pushing release windows back, publishers are suddenly going silent about projects that were supposed to be right around the corner. Nobody wants to launch next to Grand Theft Auto 6, and that should tell you everything you need to know. This isn't just hype, this is respect mixed with panic. Because everybody knows that when Grand Theft Auto 6 lands, comparisons are inevitable, and that a lot of games are not going to survive those comparisons. To understand why Grand Theft Auto 6 is such a big deal, you have to look at Rockstar's track record. Every mainline Grand Theft Auto didn't just succeed, it rewired the industry. Grand Theft Auto 3 didn't just introduce an open world, it redefined what freedom in a game felt like. Vice City proved that games could have identity, attitude, and cultural relevance. San Andreas,
it's Grove Street, nigga,
showed scale in a way that nobody was prepared for. And Grand Theft Auto 5 didn't just sell copies, it completely redefined longevity. It's been out for almost 3 console generations now. It's kind of crazy to think that we have the oppressor to thank for Rockstar finally giving us a Grand Theft Auto 6 when they saw the player count go down. So, you know, for all those kids who flew around in the oppressor that had no skill or talent and ruined the game, thanks. One of the biggest things Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to kill off is the idea of good enough open worlds. So thinking about any kind of Ubisoft game that's released like ever. Right now, open world design has become lazy. Big maps full of icons, repetitive side activities, towers to climb, collectibles, a whole bunch of other bullshit that nobody really actually wants, but fills space. And we tolerate them because there aren't too many alternatives to the open world layout. I mean, I think the last time that we had an open world game that pushed boundaries was Shadow of Mordor with the Nemesis system. I don't think that should really count, but that's the last time I personally had fun with the open world game. But Rockstar doesn't just make maps, they make places, worlds that feel like they exist, actually are lived in. And with Rockstar's most recent patents for their AI development, it's going to feel even more lived in, and it won't be too crazy to hear players saying that their experience of Grand Theft Auto 6 is completely different from another person's. This game has actual potential to be revolutionary. People are already calling it the first quadruple-A game, which is insane to think about. In a time where AAA games are fucking up and failing, like, you know, if you watch my previous video, Grand Theft Auto 6 is just going to transcend all those games. So in the future, in my opinion, what we're going to have are games that are going to be able to transcend to quadruple A status, like Star Citizen, when they finally get their shit together. The point here is Rockstar is slowly approaching quadruple A status with their games. If you know anything about their most recent purchases of the team behind the 5M servers, you understand what they're looking to set up here. They're looking to set up a realistic world that moves a lot like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is another classic. And if you want to see how Grand Theft Auto 6 will play like, just played Red Dead Redemption 2. A lot of the movements and a lot of the animations that you see the NPCs do are pulled straight from Red Dead Redemption 2 and actually expanded upon. NPCs react to random events and chaos spreads naturally instead of being scripted. Once players experience that level of immersion, they're going to have a hard time accepting empty worlds pretending to be big. After Grand Theft Auto 6, players aren't just going to ask if a map is large, they're going to ask if it feels real. And a lot of studios don't have a good answer. There are very few games that can give you a lived-in experience with the open world, where the world itself is a character. Now, I mentioned Shadow of War earlier, and I forgot to mention Cyberpunk 2077. I quite literally have Skippy on my wall. Cyberpunk 2077 is another good example of a world that feels lived in, but it's very hard to recreate that kind of feeling, and it's very painstaking. If you know anything about developers, they're fucking lazy. So they're not going to do that, and they're going to instead pull a Ubisoft and give you a whole world that is empty and just feels like you're just placed into a sandbox. Which is why Rockstar's approach to making their open world is truly refreshing. Now let's talk about graphics, because this is where the industry keeps getting the wrong idea about what we actually want in games. games. It seems like developers have pushed the limits when it comes to things like ray tracing, ultra texture, cinematic lighting. All that blends together at a certain point, and quite frankly, most people can't really see the difference. There's a reason why Nintendo games do so well, and we all know they're not the most graphically impressive games, but they feel lived in, and when they do try to make something impressive to look at, they really knock it out of the park. And it seems like Rockstar isn't really taking the ultra settings approach to making this game. It seems like they're really taking their time building up the world, making sure that NPCs are really believable, and making sure that players have the most autonomy that they've ever really seen in a game. I think something like 60 to 70% of buildings that you see in game are actually enterable, which is literally insane. So then when you combine that with NPCs that are almost lifelike, or you can't really predict what they're going to do, it will create moments that are really memorable for people who are playing the game. And that's just a single player. Now try to imagine that with multiplayer, on top of them purchasing the team behind the FiveM servers. Everybody's watching streamers nowadays, and I feel like a huge part of that is people who played the FiveM servers and did roleplay of Grand Theft Auto. So imagine when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out and they have systems that were built in with roleplaying in mind, on top of having a much anticipated single player campaign. This game, when it comes out, is going to send chills down the spines of every executive. And personally, I can't wait to see how it all unfolds, and how it's beneficial actually for gamers, because games like this really force the industry to innovate and force the industry to actually think about what we actually want. But hey, that's just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you like this video, please drop a subscribe. It really does help the channel out significantly. And yeah, until next time, see ya.